is to observe one thing and to have one recognition that you are not the best individual in the society.
Okay.
It's just by grace and favor that you have been elevated to that position you hold in. So you hold in that position in trust of the people. You hold in that position because the people know that all of them cannot be in that position, and I said they trusted their confidence, their hope, their aspirations in your hands. So the most important thing for you to do at that moment is for you to recognize the fact that the interest of the people you serve is ultimate, is the utmost responsibility. So once you recognize that, it doesn't really matter how let me say resourceful you are, how proficient you are, how strong you are as a human being. It matters. What matters most is the people accepting the fact that this is somebody we've put in position who responds to our call.
That's right.
Who knows our problems, who at least even if he cannot master the solution to the problem at that particular moment.
That's right.
Will give us some assuring words. So over the period, I have stayed in Odododo, and I was wondering what the situation is, that the rate of attrition being so high, and no one really goes more than a term, with the exception of Honorable Taki Kome, my predecessor, who took over from the late Mankata. So he enjoyed at least
some
a term and a half.
Yes.
Yeah. So I tried as much as possible to really do a diagnostic view of what the interests of the people are, talk to them and find out what will make me overcome that myth, what will make me what will make me stay above the let me say the waters and be able not to drown like the others did in the past. It's only a fool who does not take advantage of the mistakes of his predecessors.
True.
So it's always the time that when, with the benefit of hindsight, you should always do better. And so I thank God that unexpectedly I've been able to serve. I'm my third year.
Yes.
And thinking about the fourth year.
That's what the question is like. Are you going to go again? Because you just turned, what, 57, eh?
Yes.
You're still very young.
Yes, I look young. 4 grandchildren, so I look young.
Okay.
I look young, but I'm not.
You seem
I'm
to
not
be like the People's Choice, even though I know it's a tricky terrain.
It's difficult.
Yes.
It's difficult. It's stressful. And sometimes it's also a bit depressing, because sometimes it's not everybody who appreciate your efforts. But then when you have been called to serve, it doesn't really matter what you go through. The Lord himself went through. The Prophet Muhammad, may peace be unto his name, went through the same. Everyone who is called to serve people will go through some difficulty. I remember one thing that John Muhammad said some time ago, and it really strengthened me. He said, when you are in a leadership position, you are like the refuse dump. Every bad thing is thrown at you, but it's your ability to be able to understand that you are holding that position because the people want to throw things at you. That makes you a better person. So I would say that even though it's daunting, it's stressful, it's difficult, it's a bit sometimes depressing, there are many people too in the constituency who appreciate you, who have their hope, their aspirations, and their everything. They look up to you. And as such, sometimes when you want to fold up, you look at those people and you see that if people who are happy with what you are doing are more than those who are not happy.
Okay.
And as such, that should give you the strength, the energy to be able to move on. So it is not an easy constituency though, but I just say that now that the trend has changed, anybody after me should also be able to enjoy the same number of terms or maybe more than what I have enjoyed.
That should be performance based.
Yes. In fact, but you see, Giovani, let me be frank with you. It's a constituency you can never solve all the problems.
So I hear.
You can never, because once you solve a problem, another one, sometimes more difficult than the one you solved, appears.
But why is that?
Because it's the central business district of Accra, where almost every Ghanaian congregates every day. And so all the difficulties that this country carries is epitomized in the constituency. So it's like you are carrying the whole country on your head. It is not a constituency where you say you have just a majority of a particular group of people and assert their interests, and if left to me alone, if it's my indigenous Gan people, I know what I'll have to do. But you are living in a constituency where you have Gans, you have Dangobes, you have houses, you have Akans, you have everybody, traders, business people. So the interests are many, and it is how you aggregate all these interests and to find a common path to address problems that meets the interest of these people that make you a better person in that constituency. Because there is no way you can satisfy one particular group and leave the others.
And these are things you tell them before the election, eh?
It's difficult for you to be able. My constituency is a very difficult constituency. You can't make promises there.
So I hear.
You can't, because what promises are you?
They come for you that, Ofana, you said this, and we have recording. So you tell them what you can do as a human being.
As a human being, you don't go. And you must be conscious of the things that you. But you see, sometimes I'm also lucky. I'm not like some of my colleagues who come from much more deprived in terms of amenities.
Okay.
We have the schools, we have the roads, we have water, we have electricity. So sometimes it's the social needs of the people that are paramount. And once you recognize that and you flow with them, you are at their social programs, their funerals, their outdoorings, their church activities, their festivals, their religious activities, you are with them, then you are solving a major problem. Then it comes to infrastructure. Because we are in a city and this infrastructure has been provided, sometimes people think that because it's been provided, that's all. But the maintenance and the management of those infrastructure also creates its own problems. Always you must look at the schools, because it's in the center. The schools must be in a sort of shape that you will see it for body better chalk. You understand? So when the school degenerates or deteriorates to that level, then you have a problem. They have water. People have enjoyed water all their life. As I'm talking to you now, I've just sent a letter to the water company. 2 years now, a particular electoral area in my area, Amamomo and Adedenko area, they don't get water.
Wow.
So people who have enjoyed water or the water just flow through their taps. They are not people who walk over. If you stop, they ask questions. They have light. They've enjoyed light all the time. Then all of a sudden lights go off. So every time you as the MP, I have to work with my assemblymen. Which are the street lights that are gone off? How do we replace them? Every time. So these are the things you have to make sure that the infrastructure that have been provided are maintained. And then you also have to address the social issues. And because the constituency is highly densely populated, sometimes you may do one thing here, but it will not be seen or it will not reflect in the lives of another area of the constituency unless the person goes there or unless he hears somebody say it. And then also, one of the major interests that you have difficulty meeting is the interest of the commercial people.
Okay.
The people who come there every morning to just come do business and go away.
Yeah.
They don't really live there, so they don't appreciate the problems there. They only come. He comes in. He comes to Makola. He comes to Rollins. He comes to Okanshi. He eats. They just throw it somewhere because he knows in the evening somebody will come and sweep. But it's not like communities where you can go around a big Congo and say nobody should throw rubbish into the gutter, nobody should do this. And this one, you have to make sure that every time you draw the attention of the city authorities to such problems that are lingering within the society. So you always have to make sure that your lobbying skills, your drives to be able to enter certain offices, knock on certain doors are so effective.
But that's where you come in. You're bringing your experience from
and that is what has helped to some extent. Because like this water problem, I called the board chairman of Ghana Water Company, who has been my very good friend in Parliament, irrespective of our political differences. We are friends. He's somebody who calls me initially to the house at I can Patrick Boama, Honorable Patrick Boama, Okankwe Central. We eat together, we do things together. Sometimes initially, do you have fuel? If you don't have fuel, this is something for you to buy fuel. You understand?
At that level?
Yes, that's a relationship we have. As soon as I called him, say, Nii, Mafi Mabu. You understand? recently there was a problem with the Chief Justice and the Judicial Council over the Independence Avenue School.
Yes.
The Judicial Service, the Chief Justice wrote a letter to the Minister of Lands. They want to take the land and add it to the law school, expand the law school. Meanwhile, we want to deprive the community of the basic school that has been there since 1921. Immediately I went to the Minister of Local Government, I went to the Minister of Lands and Natural Resource, Samuel Jinapo. I talked to them because of the relationship I've built. They all immediately responded, and the letter has been reversed. You understand? And so we are now back to have the basic school. The Bank of Ghana has come back to bid for us because it was a corporate social responsibility Bank of Ghana was doing for us based on our community. Yes. So if you don't have those connections,
so lobbying is such a big deal then.
It's a big deal because the sort of problems people, because once you go to a minister, he'll be thinking that you are privileged, you have water, you have this. When we have to take water to other people who don't have water, why should we? So if you don't have that relationship, that's why I say that we have suffered in the past because of the attrition rate. Because as a member of parliament, you have to be able to go beyond the term, to be able to strike the courts and the relationships that will help you develop these lobbying skills and have those relationships which will create opportunities for you to address these problems. So if you bring an MP in and then one term you throw him out, the next person will come the following time. We also have to go through difficult to build the relationships. By the time he gets used to the relationships, he is also out because you think he's not be able to do anything. So it's always good that especially constituencies within our metropolitan areas, Accra, be it Okankwe, be it Kolekrote, Dadekoto Point, understand that keeping an MP for a longer period, it yields the benefit of the constituency, and that not people be emotional about the person who is serving them, because it takes a long time. In fact, my first term in the Parliament of Ghana, I really grappled. You have to go through, you have to ask an old person, this thing, what do you do? Where do you go from here? How do you get this
on the job?
Yes, you have to learn on the job. No MP will tell me that he had the knowledge of parliamentary business before coming to the House. What the education we get in Parliament within the first term, the first 4 years, you can never acquire that in any university. You can never get it in a classroom. In fact, after a first term, I think everybody should be given a doctorate degree.
Oh wow!
I'm telling you,
on the experience.
Yes, because what you learn, the practical parliamentary work, the skills of lobbying, public speaking, and all those things help develop the person better. So when you throw the person out after the first term, you the constituency, you've lost greatly. Because that person is going away with all that knowledge he has acquired. The next person is going to take another 4 years to acquire the same knowledge you've thrown somebody out. That's why if you look at Parliament, the MPs who have stayed longer, when they get up to speak in Parliament, you see some finesse and everything in them than the fresh ones. The same way when it comes to addressing solutions of their constituents, because of those experiences, they come in. Some MPs are endowed naturally and professionally, and let me say personally. So sometimes they use their own resources to address some of these things. But let me tell you, no MP can fix a road. How much is your salary? How much? In fact, by the month, your salary is gone. You've even gone for overdraft.
What?
I'm telling you the best thing. The best thing that happened to members of Parliament is to have a bank in Parliament.
So nobody gets to know your yawa.
You see, Giovani, all these sometimes Ghanaians talk about ex gratia. I can tell you, 90% of MPs don't get even 20% of their ex gratia into their pocket, because by the time you get your ex gratia, bank loans, overdrafts, and things to address problems in your constituency may have taken all.
What keeps you guys going then?
Is sometimes, let me say this, as an MP, there are certain opportunities and privileges open to you. The way Manager Giovani will go and queue at the embassy to get a visa, you may not go through that wahala, you may not go through that stress. opportunity for you and your families and all those things. So when you count those things, those intangible things are the ones that get people going, and not the material benefit. Because people talk about your MP, we know him, he didn't have a bicycle, and all of a sudden he's riding forward. You pay for it. There are MPs who, after their term, have lost those vehicles because they couldn't pay.
What?
Yes, it's a bank loan, and you'll be deducted from your monthly salary. And so if by the end of your term, your monthly salary, the deduction is not over, your ex gratia will be touched. If your ex gratia is also not able to pay for that loan,
start looking for
you have to look. In fact, you have to lose the car, the four wheel. There are MPs who have to go and look for money to pay the balance in order to enjoy their four wheel after their term. So when people talk, sometimes you see we don't want to always be seen to be lamenting, because people say, but why are you there? And yes, so it is, as for money, MPs are poor. Just last month I was sitting down with an MP, I don't want to mention his name, who professionally is a medical doctor. Then he's one of the MPs in Accra. His party is in power. He's a member of the majority. Well, sitting there, we're talking, saying, if I knew this was the situation, I would have left my hospital and come to this house.
What?
Yes, because he says, when he was a medical doctor, nobody comes to knock on his door. Nobody brings his hospital bills, school fees, and all those things to him. You understand? But now, as an MP, all his pay go into addressing people's problems.
And he never stops.
No. Look, I sitting here, the least I spend a week on funerals in my constituency, 3,000.
That's the minimum.
The minimum.
That's
3,000.
The funeral is only 2. That they are 1.
Every week I have not less than 8 funerals. Every week. Sometimes 13. So Friday you go to some of them. You go to the wakekeeping on Friday. Saturday you attend some of them. You get yourself your time and say that you are going to spend 1 hour at every funeral. So 1 hour you're here, 1 hour, and then Sunday you go to others.
You can't go empty-handed.
No. You're going to address the people who are bereaved. You're going to take care of them. The party people within that area where the funeral is happening to, you have to refresh them, because they cannot depend on the person, the party member who is bereaved, to refresh them.
Is that why MPs pay so much before the elections, hoping to reap when they get into power?
That is sometimes an erroneous impression. You see, our society, the Ghanaian society, our cultural and traditional setup has developed on that line. Giovani, if you are in a village or a society, a town, and all of a sudden you become a managing director of a company, the whole town see you as their hope. You understand? If when we're growing up, it brought head teachers and teachers within societies become fathers, teachers, lawyers, letter writers, and things for people in society. Some time ago, in fact, pastors were poorly paid, but the pastor is the one who takes care of the whole community. So our society has grown in the sense that culturally people think that when you are put in a privileged position, what the Bible says, you have been blessed to be a blessing unto others, comes into play. So that puts pressure on the MPs, that you look at the situation where somebody has gone to queue from morning to evening to vote for you, and the person says, my daughter is going to write her final exam, but I don't have money to pay her fees. If I don't pay, it means that all the 3 years she has spent in school becomes naught. Will you look at the person and say, as an MP, I also don't have money, so go and cry your own cry? You can't.
You can't. Corrupt.
That is what people say. Let me say here and there, I can say for sure that there are so many things that happen in Parliament that could point to that. So many things happen in Parliament that could point to that. Let me say, for example, if the whole Ghana says we don't like e-levy, and government will whip its members of Parliament to pass e-levy, is it not corruption? because they were whipped. When I was in government, there are certain instances where we were whipped, sometimes 3-line whip, and some of the whipping goes with motivation.
Okay.
You understand?
This is profound. Like in cash?
Well, possible.
So when government pays you to do their bidding?
Government definitely will have to talk to its members of parliament.
Okay.
Make sure that its members of parliament,
you have a common voice.
Common voice. And sometimes, in order to make it more fluid, they motivate them. And I think...
Is that not lawlessness, lawmaker?
Well, you see, that's why I'm saying that politically, if there is one thing that I will want to change, given opportunity, our way of governance.
Our way of governance. You're an expert. You've been to Gimpa for this.
Yes.
And what are your books telling you?
Well, you see, I enjoy democratic governance, but I think we must look at our own way of democratic governance.
Customized.
Partisan politics is killing this country. I'm telling you. I'm a political person. I'm a politician, but I'm telling you from my experience in parliament and my experience in the general geopolitics of this country, I can tell you partisan politics is not good. It's not healthy for this country. Democratic governance, yes, but partisan democratic governance is hurting this country. Because there are so many decisions that have been taken and being taken for political convenience and not for national good. Not for national interest, but pure partisan interest. And that is becoming so profound and pronounced under this government, under this regime. You can see that these policies were not thought through, but because it is government policy, it has to go through at all costs, irrespective. Because you talk to members in the majority one-on-one,
on a personal level,
off record, my brother, and they tell you they don't agree with this. But we go into the chamber and you see these same people passionately defending, and they want to even fight for it.
So what system of governance
you ask yourself, really? When you come out of the chamber after that has been done, and you see him, he laugh, oh, now say when him say
the job is the job.
Sure, when him call a free presidency by. Wow. Sure, Charlie.
Which is bad.
When he say me, I'm making the dawo. Manya, because me a kufu de pa.
So how do we win? Is it an entirely hopeless situation?
It is not hopeless. I think that yesterday I was telling some people that I wish that the next generation after us will look straightly into the eyes of everyone and tell the person, this is not the way we should go in the interest of this country. I'm very passionate about Ghana, and I was brought up in a community where we care for one another. I grew up in a small town. It is not a big town. Abisim Sunyani. It's now become a walking distance from Sunyani or to Sunyani.
Okay.
And when I was growing up in Abisim, that's something I learned. Giovani, we go to the farm. We cut plantain. We bring food stuff. We uproot cassava, yam. You bring your thing. You come to the house.
And it's for the community.
You put it in a tray and put it in front of the house to sell. Giovani, people will come to buy. They will stand there and shout, metal board there. Also, 5 CD. Final fast scan to all. Giovani, the person will take the 5 CD bunch and put the money there.
True.
No one will touch it.
True. Well, same thing in my village growing up as well.
I grew up in a town where every month we all gather together. One communal spirit. We clear the path to the water side. We clear the path to the dumping site. We do things together. You understand? So some of us have grown out of that society, caring for one another, loving one another, being at peace with one another. Then all of a sudden, you plunge yourself into a political environment where sometimes people have to kill in order to achieve what they are looking for. People have to maim. People have to do. You have to do certain things you do not want to do. But fortunately for me, I work under somebody who is a different person altogether. He loves, he cares for the people, and it is about Ghana that he cared about. Professor Mills. And then after him, John Mahama. When you go to sit with John Mahama, all that he's thinking about, how do we build this school? How do we complete this bridge? How do we provide this water? You understand? So I felt I was in sync. My spirit was in telepathy with the leadership of the group I found myself.
Okay.
And that's why I would have walked out long ago, because this is not a game for me. This is not a game for me. I enjoy my broadcasting. I enjoy sitting where you are sitting,
yes,
and talking.
All the sports
I enjoy it. And actually, I wish. Well, you know, but so sometimes when I was in broadcasting, nobody comes to knock on my door at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. You understand?
Or call
I don't want to call me.
Mm.
Nobody brings the school fees. But then you see, I sometimes I feel I'm serving the people. But when you go outside that one, then the pure partisan politics hits you right in the Parliament House, and then you sit down, you reflect, you ask yourself, are you really at the right place?
Honorable, unfortunately we got 4 minutes to wrap it all up. We were hoping to have a longer conversation, but I've got questions here for you, and I would appreciate if we just punch them so that we can, because we still have areas untapped.
I'll come again. I'll come again.
I can't wait because folks are asking about. Okay, Giovani, you made mention about style of governance. Yes, he's a student of governance. So ask him what he suggests.
Look, I've seen China. China is growing. You may say they are not democratic enough, but their own democracy is auguring well for them. I've been to Rwanda. You will say Rwanda. Everybody's talking about Rwanda. Why are we talking about Rwanda?
Would you bring back the military regime if you had
It is not a military regime. Okay. I wouldn't want to say, I don't want us to go back. But we should look at what is good for us. Rwanda has customized their own form of democracy. And it's working well for them. The partisanship has minimized to the barest minimum.
Some call it dictatorship.
Look, it doesn't really, they have elections. The elections, today when you go to Rwanda, the most powerful, apart from the president, the most powerful person is a woman. The next person after her is a woman. There are more women in their parliament, the upper house, than men. You understand?
And things are working, or seem to be working for them.
Persons with disability are in parliament. Because the constitution has been created to serve that interest. So you end up serving and when their parliament, there is no NDC, there is no MPP in their parliament. You don't go to parliament on a ticket of a party. You understand? It's like at the end of elections, depending on your performance, positions, number of seats are allotted to the party. So Giovani, you won't go and sit in the Rwandan parliament and think about water for your constituency alone. You think about water for the whole nation. Water for every community that hasn't got water, because you are not in parliament representing your constituency. You understand? And that to me,
that's style,
because then when I get up to speak in parliament, I will talk about the national good. I will talk about the national good, the public good, and not my constituency specific.
Right.
And that is what is going well. And I think that it's a model of their own democracy, depending. They look at their culture, their surround, their environment, what they've been through in the past, their historic, activities, or let me say their history, has guided them to formulate a sort of constitutional democracy that is good for them, and it's going well for them.
Honorable, this will be my final question for you, because Martin is knocking on our door. Giovani, can you ask him about the Salaga market projects? This is one question that I'm sure since 2016.
Salaga market, this government said they were going to do it. Before the elections, they came and did some AMAS. You know what is called AMAS? Skirmishes, to get a vote. After that, nothing is happening. It is my prayer that the NDC government, I've told my people, we started it. When we come to power, in 18 months, we shall have the sort of Salaga market.
You're confident about that?
I'm very sure about that. I've told my people, look, all the plans that Jomama had for this, look, if we had won 2016 elections, by this time we'll have had 17 Astro thefts. Hockey, you saw the performance of our hockey team.
Yes.
Just one Astro theft that we built in Accra during the time of President Mahama and John Mahama. It's what has made our team better to be able to compete at the world and to play against India and all those people. if we have 13, 15 of that across the country, especially some of the best hockey players are from the central region.
Yes.
In the past, historically,
yes.
Western region,
including the former, the late president.
Yes. So you will have seen what hockey will have done. We built one boxing gym. Look at boxing today. Boxing has overtaken football today in Ghana. Because of the boxing league, it has overtaken football. So it's about the vision and be able to achieve that. Salaga market will be done. When NDC comes to power within 18 months, we shall have the market like KJTia.
Honorable Nii Lante Vanderpuye, thank you so much for spending time.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Martin is here with the news. I know you're not part of the news, but Martin, if you have a question for him, you can use it to start the news.
Martin was my student. I don't think the student want to ask the lecturer a question.
So guys, so sorry, this is Hot Edition. The first question for Hot Edition. Martin, come. First question for Hot Edition. Sir, Honorable, are you a troublemaker? And I'll leave you with Martin.
Nii Lante
So someone wants to know if you're a troublemaker.
I am not. I don't like being cheated. I don't like people cheating people, because I told you where I grew up. And growing up in the small town, nobody cheats the other. And I said, when I see people vulnerable being cheated, I want to fight for them. And it translates into my personal life. You can't just come. If you want something from me, ask me. You can't just come and think that because you are bigger than me and all those things. You may be bigger than me, but I may have some artistic display that may floor you. Like I floored the president that day.
Yes, but Honorable, do you think that mistake President Akufo-Addo made in your constituency, did it help you?
Did you know what I said to my God?
No.
Do you know where I come from? I'm called Nii Lante Vanderpuye. I come from Lante Jamwe. My mother comes from Kobo in Ada.
Okay.
They took that day away from me, and I told them I will embarrass them.
And God did it for you.
God did it for me.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nii Lante Vanderpuye, Member of Parliament for the Ododo Dio, very, very popular